laugh hits him first, sharp as a slap. Heat, eyes, courthouse steps, and a sound that will not leave. The ring box is open. He does not kneel. He is already low. Ruth says, "You can't feed a promise on dust." He stares at the band like a coin he cannot spend. It's not dust. It's land. It'll grow. Her mouth stays hard. I need a life, not a wish. Sheriff Hale drifts past. Son, dreams don't sign deeds. Cade closes the box like a cut. I won't ask. Again, Ruth says, good. I won't laugh again. The crowd laughs for her. The town's gaze pins him. A boy snickers. He turns away because his face is burning, and he will not give them the swallow they want. Ruth's aunt leans in, a needle voice. You did right. Men like him stay poor. He hears it. He keeps walking. Foreman Jeb stands in the feed store door. Boy, you ride or you break. Cade slides the ring box into his pocket like returning a borrowed heart. I break first. He mounts while Leather complains. He nudges the mare into the street. Men on barrels nod without liking him. Women hold basket handles. The box bites his thigh when he pushes it deeper. The laugh fades with distance, but sits in him like a seed he refuses to let grow crooked. Cade, a boy calls. He does not look. He rides past the jail where Hale leans in the shade. You still chasing the county line, son? Cade keeps his voice flat. I'm buying a pasture. Hale smiles without teeth. From the bank that took your father. Cade says nothing. Dreams don't sign deeds, Hale repeats. Maybe not, Cade says, but hands do. Dust lifts and drops. Fences, thin to scrub. He breathes easier when the last roof falls behind, ashamed that it helps. He could throw the ring away. He could sell it. He could ride back and ask again. He does none of it. He was told he is a joke. He decides he is not. He thinks of his father's split hands in the winter shed. He thinks of a ledger square with his name and a red stamp that made the clerk smirk. He thinks of the foreclosed pasture, grass-tired, creek down 2 stones, a windmill that only turns when a storm bullies it. No one believes in it. He does. The mare follows the rutted road. Birds lift from a fallow field. He talks to the animal because he will not talk to air. It's not dust, he says. It's land. It'll grow. The mare's ear flicks back. He laughs once, small and bitter. It dies quick. He pictures a house without paint, a table with 2 cups. You'll see, he says. A cart rattles beside him, Jeb at the reins. You mean it? Jeb asks. You going to that dead patch? I am. Bank moved to foreclose again, Jeb says. Owner drunk himself mean? Shot at clouds? Missed. I don't drink at clouds, Cade says. Boy, that ground eats men, Jeb says. You ain't got seed money. You ain't got a well that runs. You ain't got a fence that stands. I got hands. I got time, Cade says. They ride together for a stretch. Wheels knock stones. Hooves find soft parts. Come back to the ranch, Jeb says. Work quiet. Save. Try again when the world don't hate you. Cade looks at him. You watch from doorways and call it help. Jeb's jaw sets. I watch because I seen boys like you press your chests on a seeing knife and swear you invented bleeding. Cade almost smiles. Then watch this. Jeb lets the cart drift back. Cade keeps going. The light drops and thickens. He feels tired in a clean way, scared in a way that wakes him. He thinks of Ruth's eyes, not her laugh, the small pull when she almost hoped. He keeps that, and he keeps the hard things too. He puts them with the ring and lets their weight anchor him. He reaches the last cross fence before the county line. A bank sign nailed up crooked bullet holes opening the words. He swings down, opens the gate, leads the mare through, and closes it careful, like it is a door that will be his. He looks at the pale land spread like a dare. It'll grow. he says, quiet. The road runs straight, hard, and it waits for him. Cade mounts the tired mare. Boy, you ride or you break, Jeb says again in memory. He hears his own answer. I break first. He nudges the mare. Laughter fades. The ring sits heavy, not gone. Cade rides toward a foreclosed pasture, at the edge of county lines, jaw set, night coming. Night takes the fence line like a slow hand closing. Cade lets the town fall off him and feels the ring box bite his thigh. He rides to the gate and studies the chain. He takes the bolt cutter from his saddlebag, sets the jaws, and cuts. The sound runs into the pasture and does not come back. He swings the gate, leads the mare through, and closes it careful, as if someone might be listening. The broken lock is warm in his palm. He kneels and lays his hand on dirt that used to know his family's boots. The ground is dry but awake. He whispers, mine, and here's how thin that sounds here. A voice makes the dark feel crowded, and not with men. It comes from the black mouth of the well, stones stacked without love, rope wheels sleeping against the stars. Return what was taken. Cade turns to the circle. Who's there? Silence moves like cattle in fog, slow and sure. He tells himself it is wind in a throat of stone. He does not move closer. He does not step back. He takes the ring out and turns it until the metal warms. He closes his fist and puts it away. Hoofbeats come soft through weeds. Jeb rides in with a lantern and a bedroll. He lifts the light and looks at the cut chain and the well. You hearing the well? Cade keeps his eyes on the flame. I'm hearing my own head. Head or ghosts, don't matter, Jeb says. Work at sunrise. Cade nods. Whose land is it? Jeb sets the lantern on a rock. Nobody's. Who earned it? Everybody's who took it. Cade says, bank holds the deed. Jeb says, bank holds ink. Ground holds the truth. Cade says, truth is the fence line and my feet on it. Jeb shrugs. Truth is what fills your pail. They bed down under the broken windmill. The tower creaks like old bone. Cade sets his boots beside his head and watches the well because not watching feels worse. Jeb says, you cut a lock. Cade says, it needed cutting. Jeb says, locks grow back when men with suits pass through. The whisper comes again, dry as paper, close as breath, though the well is 10 paces off. Return what was taken. Cade sits up. We didn't take it, he says to the dark. Jeb opens one eye. Who are you talking to? Nobody, Cade, says. Jeb rolls over. Sleep, boy. Tomorrow we steal back ours. Cade lies down, then sits up again. He turns the ring and presses its edge into skin to feel something certain. He thinks of Ruth's mouth, set and kind in a way that hurt. He thinks of his father pulling water from this same mouth when he was small, rope singing, bucket heavy. He thinks of the bank sign like a hand over a throat. He almost tosses the ring to prove he answers no voice but his own. He does not toss it. Night stays close. The windmill hums like a throat clearing. Cade whispers, you want the deed. The dark holds. You want the years. He waits. You want the ring? Nothing. He wakes before dawn because he never truly slept. He walks to the gate and picks up the broken lock, cool now, and pockets it. He tests the hinge. It groans like an old house under a step. He goes back and nudges Jeb's. Boot up, Jeb grunts. Ain't sunrise. We work before sun, Cade says. Head or ghosts, we work. Jeb sits and rubs his face. You scared? Cade says, I'm decided. Jeb gives half a smile. Same thing if you last. Whose land, you ask? Cade nods. Jeb points. His chin at the well. Ask it. It remembers. Cade steps to the mouth and speaks low. Whose land is it? Air shifts and touches his face like a cold hand. Return, it says. Anger runs through him quick. I will return what was taken when what was taken gets named, he says. Jeb stands beside him, lantern low, though light is coming. Names. Come later, Jeb says. Fences first. Cade nods once. He picks up the post-hole digger Jeb dragged through the gate and sets it where the line should run. He drives the blades. The ground takes metal and gives up small stones that clink. Day pulls color out of nothing and then gives some back. Cade wipes his forearm and looks at the hole. He feels the whisper go quiet, not gone, waiting. He looks at Jeb. Work, he says. Work, Jeb says back. The same ground, in first light, waits for a decision. Cade makes one, jaw set, hands on the next hole, the day already beginning to pay for itself. Dawn opens on borrowed acres. Cade stands by the gate with the cut lock in his pocket. Jeb stamps the coals. The windmill ticks. The well keeps its mouth patient. A tidy mare slips through the gate, with a clerk on her back. She ties off. She carries a folder and a thin smile. She looks from chain to men too well, as if it were a witness. Cade waits now. You slept here, she says. That's trespass. It's rest, Cade says. Rest costs $2. Jeb nods at the folder. Girl, read what you brought. She opens it, so the pages flash white. Deed transfer, she says. Predatory, glittering. Cade does not touch it. Sign today, work tomorrow, own in 10 years, she says. And if I don't, you keep cutting locks and hearing wells. Who sent you? He asks. She glances toward town. Everyone. Who laughs. Silence settles. Then the ground hums. The voice rises through his boots, dry and near. Return what was taken. Cade keeps his face forward. Who's there? Wind answers with dust and nothing else. Jeb tips his chin. You hearing the well. I'm hearing my own head, Cade says. Head or ghosts, don't matter. Jeb says. Work at sunrise. Your name? Cade asks. Mara, she says. She taps the page. 10 years of payments. Proof you live here. Improvements documented. No fires, no fights, no preaching from the well. Jeb snorts. Read the knife parts. She lists fees, penalties, and grace that isn't. Sign here, she says. Or don't. I ride back either way. He reads enough to see the traps. Improvements belong to the bank until the end. The creek is called seasonal, so a gate can shut it. A missed Sunday counts as a broken month. He points. This isn't land. It's a leash. It's a path if you can walk it, she says. 10 years is a life, Cade says. Then, make this life yours, Mara says. Jeb taps a corner. Late fee, hiding. I see it, Cade says. Mara folds her hands. Sign now and work without hail on your neck. Wait, and the red brand rides by noon with older papers. Offers less, owns sooner. Jeb spits. He starved this ground and got praise. He reads faster, Mara says. The well whispers. Again. Return what was taken. Cade breathes out. Name it, he answers low. The whisper holds. He studies the page. He cannot outmuscle a vault, but he can outread a trap. He points at improvements. Strike this. What I build stays. Mine, standard, Mara says. Not mine. He points at the stream. No gate. Shared water within boundary. Seasonal streams don't bind, she says. They do if they keep calves alive. He points at penalties. No Sunday trap. 7 days to cure. Mara looks toward the pale road, counting minutes. 2 changes, she says. 3, Cade says. Or I keep working with a cutter, and you keep writing that a boy won't stop. Jeb grins. Work at sunrise. The wind turns mean and then lets go. Mara studies him like a balance sheet. You really hear it. I hear what was owed, he says. She lifts her pen and draws a black tooth through improvements. 1. She writes a line underwater rights. 2. She hesitates. The well hums like a throat clearing. return what was taken. She adds a cure period after penalties. 3. He reads the marks. Thin lines, but they move weight. He imagines a corner post that stays, a gate without a chain across water, a Sunday where a calf can come. Late now. It's a path, he says. It's still steep, she says. Steep is fine, he says. Slippery kills. She points at the signature line. Your name goes here. Sheriff Hale witnesses, if he's in a kind mood. Jeb snorts. Hale's kind when someone richer tells him to be. Mara does not argue. Cade touches the blank. The paper stays cold. If I sign, the bank keeps away. Mostly, she says. They like their drives, and if I don't, you keep cutting locks and hearing wells, she says again, softer now. He looks at Jeb. Jeb says nothing. Cade hears yesterday's laugh, try to rise, then fade under the well's old patience. He takes the ring out, turns it once, and puts it back. Sign and start, Mara says. Sun's up. The ground wants proof. Cade breathes steady. The windmill ticks. Dust lifts and swirls. The field waits, same as it did, not the same at all. He takes the pen and holds it over the line, weighing 10 years, 3 fixes. The sound in the stones, and the work he can do when no hand rides his back. He grips the pen. Ink waits like a bet placed on blood. The pen hovers above the deed, while the field waits. The windmill clicks once. Jeb stands with a post-maul on his shoulder, quiet and ready. Mara holds the folder steady. Cade keeps his eyes on the blank line. If I sign, I keep my name on the gate. Mara says, you keep your name in the ledger, different gates. Jeb says, sign. Then we start stealing sunrises. Cade breathes dust and heat. He hears the well breathe. He lowers the nib. Ink shines. He writes his name slow enough to mean it. Each letter feels like a post set straight. When the circle closes on the last letter, he sets the pen down. Air runs out of him. A whisper rises through his boots. Not angry now. Keep what is yours. Mara blots the signature. First payment due at harvest. He meets her eyes. We'll have one. From what seed? Stubbornness. Jeb grins. It roots deep. Mara taps the map square that marks the creek and fence lines. Plant feed. Plant drought grain. Patch the well cap. Keep receipts. Sheriff Hale will witness. He'll ask you to brag. Don't. Cade says. Talk is wind. Mara answers. Wind knocks men who think they're stone. She ties the folder and studies him like a man who might win. Jeb claps his shoulder. Fence first. Cade pockets the deed, though the day runs hot. He lifts the post digger. They walk to the corner stake. He drives the blades. The ground gives up small stones, dull and warm. The sound carries across the pasture and returns clear. They work a row. Cade digs. Jeb holds. Cade tamps. Jeb sights. The rhythm is hard and clean. Between strikes, Jeb says, you signed to fight, not to beg. Cade says, I signed so a cutlock becomes a gate. Jeb says, bank loves boys who try. Cade says, then the bank can watch. The well hums under their boots. Keep what is yours. Dust lifts on the road. Hale rides in slow, badge bright. He looks at the chain hung back on the post, at the new line of wood. You done with cutting? Cade says. I signed. Hale rolls the word. You signed a promise you can't feed. Jeb says, we feed what's ours. Hale asks Mara, you selling mercy? Mara says, I brought paper. He brought work. Hale's mouth twitches. Work leaves receipts. Paper leaves hooks. Cade wipes his palms and offers the deed. Witness in town after this row. Hale scans the changes. Improvements stay yours. Water shared. Cure week. He looks at Mara. You bargaining now? Mara says, I read what I bring. Hale taps the signature. You plan to outred us and outwork us. Cade says both. Hale looks at the well. You hearing it? Cade says, I'm hearing hammers. Hale stares a beat. Keep your posts high. Coyotes jump. He turns the bay and rides off. Mara swings into the saddle. She sets her hat low, gives Cade one last look. I'll be back to collect, Cade says, or to help. She doesn't deny it. She heels the mare and goes, dust folding behind her. Cade tucks the deed closer and lifts them all. Jeb plants the next post. Fence first. Fence first, Cade says. They hammer until the field draws a new line. Cade thinks of Ruth hearing, he signed. He lets the laugh fade. He keeps only the work. He thinks of the feed store men who measured him small. He thinks of Mara, who measured clean. He thinks of Hale, who measured cost. He thinks of himself, who measured the heat and stayed. Bread with dust passes for lunch. The mare drinks from a bucket. Cade feels deed and ring together. Two hard circles that say, keep going. The well gives one more low breath. Keep what is yours. He nods. Afternoon leans heavy. Blisters rise. The gate stays in sight, so he remembers the choice. Post by post, the fence says not today, not again. He works until there are no more words, and then works past that. When the light slides toward evening, Jeb sets the last post of the row. He steps back. You signed for this, he says. Cade says, I signed to fight, not to beg. Jeb hands him the maul, then hit it. Cade swings. The hammer meets wood and drives it home. The sound runs through the pasture and keeps going until it is part of the day. He breathes the dirt he chose, looks at the posts that hold, and feels the ground answer with the only word it has offered since morning. Keep. He grips the handle and nods toward the next hole. Fence first. Then he swings again, and the long day moves with him. The rows were crooked because his hands were honest. Cade dropped seed by feel, heel to toe, the way his father had done before the pasture was lost. Jeb dragged the furrower, muttering at stones, eyes cutting back to the sky. The windmill groaned once. The cistern clicked twice. Each sound a promise that water still lived here. Cade kept his head down, one row, then the next, not thinking of the courthouse, not thinking of laughter. Only dirt, seed, and sweat, dust, smudged the far road. Two riders came slow, first a polished man in a vest that gleamed like coin, then Ruth, straight-backed and stiff. They reached the fence and reined in. Cade didn't stop. He finished the row before looking up. Ruth's voice carried. So this is the life. Bent backs and hope. This is the life, Cade said. The suitor's smile was wide, practiced. Heard a man needs credit. Cade set the dipper down, shoulders square. Heard a man needs grit. Jeb spat and leaned on the handle. Ground tells which. Ruth's eyes moved over the crooked furrows. Raw dirt opened like wounds. We all need mercy. Cade shook his head. Mercy wasn't at the courthouse. The man tipped his hat. Name's Eli. I sell equipment and patience. Respect grows slower than water, Cade said. Eli shrugged. I can speed it along. You sure you want this fight? Eli asked. There's no other kind, Cade answered. Ruth nudged her horse nearer. Gaze on the posts set hard in the ground. You built fast. We started before Son had the choice, Jeb said. Her mouth tightened. People are talking. Let them, Cade said. They call you stubborn. They called me worse yesterday. Eli laughed soft. Stubborn. Breaks when harvest misses. Cade nodded toward the cistern. Harvest heard the whisper. Eli frowned. What whisper? Jeb's voice was flat. The one that keeps what is yours. Eli shifted in his saddle, uneasy at the well's shadow. Cade bent to work another row. Seed, heel, cover. Rhythm made sense where words didn't. Ruth guided her horse along the fence, keeping pace. You mad at me? She asked. I'm busy, he said. Busy being mad. Busy being here. So you chose dirt over me? I chose both. Then I laughed. She said, "You did, and you're still here." "I am." Her eyes lowered. "Your feet look tired. They can sleep when the ground does." Eli moved his horse closer. I could advance seed. Interest small, like a handshake. Pay after first cut. No, you didn't hear the terms. I heard the hunger in them. "Hunger builds men," Eli said. "Hunger sells them," Jeb muttered. "Money buys time," Eli pressed. "Time already arrived," Cade said. Eli's jaw worked. His eyes cut to Ruth. "You want to tie yourself to this?" She stayed quiet. Cade dropped another seed and kept moving. The cistern ticked again, louder. Water shimmered higher than before. Ruth's eyes caught it, followed it. Her voice softened. "I shouldn't have laughed. But you did." "I did. And you brought him." "I came to see, and to sting. Maybe to swallow pride." "Maybe," she admitted. Eli cleared his throat. "You dig straight." "Straight is cheap," Cade said. "Straight runs water." "True," Jeb added. Eli tried again. "I admire work, but comfort matters too. You could have both with my note." "I have a note already," Cade said. "From the bank. From the ground." "The ground can't foreclose," Eli said. "It can starve," Cade answered. "So can we," Jeb added. Ruth leaned forward in her saddle. "If I came back alone, would you let me help?" "You would have to stop laughing." "I can. Show me." Eli snapped the reins. "Ruth, enough. We should go." She didn't move. "He isn't finished." Eli scowled at the fence line. "The wind shifts." "So can I," Ruth said. Cade finished his row and walked to the fence. Sweat rolled down his neck. Dust clung to his shirt. He stood steady. Ruth's gaze held his. The cistern ticked once more, water rising. Eli's voice hardened. "Last offer. I lend. You smile. In town, we all eat." "I'll eat slow and honest," Cade said. "When the sheriff comes again, you'll wish you had friends." "I have them." Cade nodded at Jeb. Eli's smile broke flat. "Play hero, then. I'll watch the price." He wheeled the horse and rode back toward town, dust swallowing him. Ruth stayed. Her eyes went again to the water. Clear, steady, climbing. "It's real," she whispered. "It is. I shouldn't have laughed." "You said that?" "I needed to say it twice." "Say it with your hands," Cade said. She slid down from the saddle, boots sinking in soft earth. She pulled a glove off and lifted one seed. "How deep?" "2 knuckles." She knelt, pressed, covered. Her breath hitched in dust. "Again," he said. "Again," she repeated. They worked, side by side, crooked but close. Jeb stacked stone and said nothing, though his mouth bent like he'd seen this before. Ruth looked up once. "So this is the life." "This is the life," Cade said. "And mercy. Mercy is water showing up." The windmill turned. The cistern ticked. Ruth let her glove hang loose and pushed hair from her face. "I can come back. Come back. I'll bring no one. Bring your hands." She nodded. Her eyes stayed on the waterline climbing stone, following it into the heat that was coming. The water sat high enough to show sky in its face. Cade and Jeb stood by the cistern. The windmill ticked. Hoofbeats came soft. A man in soft boots and a coat you could not farm and rode through the gate without asking. Mara followed close. Cade set the bucket down and wiped his palms. The stranger swung off the saddle. "Name's Pike, governor's cousin." He looked at fence, rose, and water. "Sell, and I make you town's pet success." Cade kept his hands at his sides. "I'd rather be my own failure." Mara stepped in fast. "His contract allows refusal." Pike's smile didn't move. "Contracts bend." Jeb leaned on a post. "Spines don't." Pike peered at the clear rise, as if insulted by it. "Sheriff serves lunch, not law." "Then he won't eat here," Cade said. "Mara, quick. Hold." Prices rise after first yield, then we hold, Cade said. Men who hold get held down, Pike said. Try, Cade said. The well whispered from stone, iron, and old. Keep BOT. Pike opened his papers. Numbers lay like traps. Buyout forgives your debt, prints your name as pioneer, moves you into a house with real walls. Jeb snorted. Walls keep more than weather. I am here to make this county less shameful to visit, Pike said. Cade studied the numbers without touching them. You came to make it quiet. You signed nothing today, Mara said. Pike spread his hands. A week. Consider your back. Consider your pride. Consider your girl. She is not part of this field, Cade said. Everything is part of this field, Pike said. The town's laugh. The sheriff's smile. The bank's patience. The preacher's coin. Funny thing, Jeb said. This field grows water too. Men can drown in water, Pike said. Men can live by it, Cade said. Pike folded the page. You say no, I go to the sheriff. He rides out with a citation for a leaning fence. He finds a word like encroach. You lose a week while rows dry. The bank frets. They sell your note to a friend who does not like your face. I return with a lower number and a higher smile. You take it. I hang a ribbon on your gate. His deed revision won't let you close that fast, Mara said. Deeds are paper, Pike said. Power is weather. Cade looked at the fence he had set and the water that had answered him. You left out a piece. We keep working. Until you're tired, Pike said. I am tired, Cade said. I still work. You think this is war? Pike asked. Everyone hears the word, Cade said. You brought it. War needs soldiers, Pike said. Fields need hands, Cade said. Orders win. Rows feed. Pike turned to Mara. You want him to win? I want the contract to hold, she said. That means I win, Pike said. That means he gets 10 years to try, she said. Pike laughed once. You like doomed bets. I like terms, Mara said. You came to buy a thing that doesn't want you, Cade said. Pike pointed at the dry ink. Everything wants me in the end. Except ground, Jeb said. Ground can be taught, Pike said. The whisper rose again, iron and sure. Keep, Pike swung into the saddle. We'll revisit when the sky turns. He glanced at clouds gathering far off. Storms change men. So does work, Cade said. Pike paused at the gate. Sheriff rides tonight, he smiled. I told him you're tired of bad advice. Tell him the water is higher, Cade said. Pike rode out. The field grew quiet. Jeb shook his head. Governor's kin. Soft boots. Hard paper. He is the kind that does not like being refused, Mara said. I am the kind that does not like selling, Cade said. She looked at the clouds. You will bring a reason. I already have one, Cade said. Jeb clapped Cade's shoulder. Fence first. Fence first, Cade said. They set to it, rhythm returning as if Pike were only a pause. Cade measured a post by the scar on his forearm and set the hole. He drove the blades, lifted, dumped, drove. Jeb sighted the line. Mara counted so the work could hear it was real. The water showed inch. Ruth rode up, breathless. She saw clouds, men, clerk, and rising shine. What? Did I miss an offer? Cade said. And? We kept. Ruth looked at the water and nodded. Good. Prices rise after first yield, Mara said. Then we hold, Cade said again. Ruth touched the rail, then his arm. Then we plant faster. Clouds gathered. The field waited under that promise as the wind turned the wheel in the well, gave one last iron word that set Cade for the work to come. Keep. The sky keeps the promise. Wind turns sharp on Cade's neck as the light goes gray. The first drop falls and pops against the cistern lip. A long wall of rain comes. Thunder walks. The fence. Rose bow and break. Seed swims. Hope flattens. while the waterline climbs. Jeb shouts from the windbreak and points at the canvas. Get the tarp. Cade runs. We can't cover the sky. Hold it anyway, Jeb says. They drag the tarp. Overseed sacks. Rain hits sideways. The windmill screams and then spins. The cistern spills. Mud grabs boots. Cade opens the deed because the thought won't leave him. Paper still owns what sweat is trying to claim. Mara rides in soaked folder under her coat. She swings down. You sign, you lose your future, she says. You hold, you might keep. It might doesn't feed men, Cade says. Neither does surrender, she says. Lightning rips the pasture. The sound lands late and heavy. Cade slips the deed under the tarp and bends while they hold corners with their bodies. Water blows through anyway. Jeb, Cade says. Anchor the west side. Anchored, Jeb grunts. Mara, Cade says. Breathe with me. She nods close. In, she says. Out, he breathes. His hands settle enough to see lines and traps, and the signature he already gave. The whisper comes from the, low, under the slap, stand. Cade lifts his head, rain needling his face. He looks at the field and the shack, at the deed that says 10 years and hooks. He closes it, tucks it inside his coat, and runs for the shack. Hold, Jeb calls. I'll keep the cover. Mara follows. Inside, air is hot with smoke. Wind pushes the door. Cade sets the paper on the stove. If I sign again, he says, he comes with men and pins me to my own gate. If you hold, Mara says, you might keep what is yours. Might, he says. I have seen men live on might, she says. The whisper presses the walls. Stand. Jeb bursts, in dripping. Boy, if we burn choices, we make new ones, Cade says. Jeb stares. That fire wants kindling, not a life. It wants both, Cade says. He scrapes a match. Flame jumps. He holds it at the deed and waits one breath. The paper accepts. The edge browns curls, then takes ink beads and slides. He feeds the corner in. Cade, Mara says, just to mark it. The rain shouts. He hears the small roar inside and the well's word in the floor. Stand. Storm's easing, Jeb says. Cade steps into rain that has fallen. From rage to push. The tarp lies flatter. The cistern settles to overflow. Rows are torn and flattened, but not gone. He lifts plants laid down. Some stay, some break. Mara joins him, hair stuck to her cheek. Count what's left. He squats and counts by rows and tools, by posts that lean and can be set right, by inches of water still clear. He counts until the number becomes a word he can carry. Enough. Jeb slaps a post straight. Steam's coming, he says. Heat swells off soaked dirt as rain thins to a gray veil. Steam lifts like breath. Cade points. We trench a relief line there before the next squall. I'll cut it, Jeb says. Mara, Cade says, note the loss in the hold. She pushes wet hair back. Half the hope flattened, she says, but the field held. The field lived, Cade says. Ruth rides in, cloak dark with rain. I came as fast as I could. You're here, Cade says. Did you sign? I burned it. Ruth breathes out. Then we start again. We never stopped, Jeb says, cutting the relief trench, water leaping to follow the new line. The storm moves on like a threat that spent itself. Cade and Ruth lift plants and press them back. Mara checks the cistern lip. She glances toward the stove and then away. You made a choice, she says. Fire makes the choice, Cade says. You did, she says. I did. They work, until the last drops turn to mist and the field shows its bruises. Cade widens the trench so the next burst will know where to go. He looks at posts he can reset, seed he can replace, water he can keep, faces that stayed. Ruth squeezes his arm. Tell me what to do. Set the row back, he says. 2 knuckles, firm. She kneels. Jeb opens the gate a span to let the rush move faster. Mara stands at the ledger board and writes the word they all heard, in rain and in the hiss inside the stove. Hold. The sky clears by inches. Steam rises off the rows. The same ground holds, bruised, alive. The first cut filled a wagon and a half, grain clean and hard won. Cade stacked sacks at the field's edge, while Jeb watched the hanging scale. Mara wrote amounts, exact. Ruth tied twine with quick hands. The cistern held. The rows stood, small, but a harvest. Dust rose. Wagons came slow, faces thin. Hail drifted in from the other side, as if the path owed him rent. Cade wiped his palms and lifted the first sack so everyone could see. A merchant jumped down. I'll take the lot. You'll take enough, Cade said. The rest feeds folks who keep lights on. Hale's voice cut. Charity isn't business. Dignity is, Cade said. Mara smiled, barely. Ruth's aunt arrived with a ledger. She tested a grain and nodded. He prices fair. That scares men. Cade moved the line. 2 sacks. For you, he told a cook who never sat. Half price for you, to a hand with a split palm and a boy at his leg. You pay later, to a widow studying her shoes. You pay in stew, Jeb said. The merchant bristled. I said the lot. You said it, Cade answered. I said no. You'll wish you hadn't. I've wished worse, Cade said. He passed sacks along. The well whispered underfoot, iron and old. Keep. Hale edged closer. You're buying friends. I'm paying debts that don't use paper, Cade said. Town runs on paper, Hale said. Town runs on supper, Jeb said. Mara kept the pencil moving. He sells at rate. He discounts within his right. He stays solvent. For how long? Hale asked. Long enough to bother you, she said. Ruth worked beside him. You'll get yours, she told a man who asked twice. You'll get enough, she told a woman. The line steadied. Ruth's aunt counted again. He doesn't cheat weight, she said. He cheats nobody, except himself, Hale said. That's my cost to set, Cade answered. The merchant tried again. Name your higher price. I'll double. You're late, Mara said. He sold his conscience elsewhere. The man climbed up. Cade didn't speed for boots or slow for sandals. He looked at hands. He counted by hunger. By midday, the pile shrank. Hale walked the fence, seeking flaw. You set 2 near the creek. Shared water clause, Mara said. You'll fall on a technicality, Hale said. Not today, Cade said. Jeb laughed low. Money like water doesn't. Sour. A boy from Pike came with a note and a smirk. Offer stands, he said. Price is less kind after storms. Storm taught me how to count, Cade said. We're selling to stomachs, not business, the boy said. Cade lifted a sack. Take this home, eat, then teach me. The boy left. The last buyers came on foot. They had only walk and need. Cade split the remaining sacks and tied small packages. You take this, he said. You take that. He checked Mara's page when numbers thinned. You're solvent, if barely, she said. Barely is a bridge, Cade answered. Ruth's aunt pressed coins into his palm that weren't hers. From those who had more today, she said. You'll remember them. I will, he said, and dropped the coins into a jar labeled seed. Hale leaned by the gate. You made a show. I made a sale, Cade said. A sheriff calls it a crowd, Hale said. He mounted. Crowds learn bad habits. Eating, Jeb asked. Hale rode off so his silence could be seen. Mara tapped her some solvent, she said, and proof of yield. Paper happy, Cade asked. Enough for a quiet hour, she said. Ruth watched the road. They'll talk, she said. They always do, Cade said. They'll call it pride, she said. Let them, he said. We call it work. The town's head turned. Power twitched. Ruth's aunt closed her bag. You gave the hungry first, she said. That sticks. It keeps lights on, Cade said, and keeps mouths open when storms come again, Jeb said. Cade passed the final sack to a girl with her mother's eyes. She tried to lift. Too much. He took half back. Carry what you can, he said. The girl left. The pile was gone. In its place stood proof. Scuffed furrows, a resting scale, a shut ledger, people walking home with weight they could carry. The feed store owner waited until the work was done. He pressed a brass key into Cade's palm. Credit line, he said. On fair terms. Key opens early. Cade closed his fingers over it. Mara watched. Ruth smiled. Jeb looked toward tomorrow. Cade looked at water, at fence, at the road emptying of wagons. He breathed. The last sack had left his hand. In its place, a key to the feed store cooled his skin, like a quiet vote he could spend when the ground called for it. Today, the key stayed warm in Cade's hand as the town woke. He stood at the feed store door, name on a brass tag. He turned it. The bolt gave. Jeb whistled. Never thought I'd see your name on a ledger's top line. Cade stepped inside, breathed grain and rope. Names are fences. We move them. Mara at the counter, sleeves rolled. You leveraged water rights, smart. I listened to the well, he said. They opened shutters and chalked prices. Buyers came early, the kind who knew weight by a look. Ruth broomed the doorway. Cash. Here. Credit here, Mara said. Cade weighed fair and light when he had to. Work filled the room and felt clean by noon. Numbers climbed across Mara's page like a second sunrise. Jeb nodded at the line that reached the door. Never seen them wait quiet. They're waiting to be seen, Cade said. Sheriff Hale stood in the doorway, badge bright, smile thin. Power changes men. It reveals them, Cade said. Hale eyed the discount column for widows and night crews. Law likes even edges. Mara didn't look up. Even edges cut poor hands. Round edges roll downhill, Hale said. Toward hunger, Jeb answered. Hale went. That afternoon, Cade and Mara walked to the mill and bought shares nobody expected. The clerk stamped twice. You sure? I'm sure, Cade said. Outside, Ruth waited with flour she'd bought. You look taller, she said. Ground rose, he answered. Don't let them take it. They can try. By week's end, he paid for the pasture no one could touch, the long strip by the creek. The seller watched the water and did not argue. Cade took the deed with its burned corner. Jeb set posts in new soil. Fence keeps learning, he said. Pike returned in soft boots with hard paper. He waited at closing when dust turned gold. Congrats, richest man in town. Now pay the tithe of peace. Cade flipped the sign to closed. I pay wages. Pike raised a document with a neat seal. You pay me. Mara came from the back, reading as she walked. No, you don't. Court order. She read faster. Forgery. Arrest him, Cade said. Hale had appeared again, the doorway his friend. I don't arrest cousins, then arrest me trying. The room breathed once. Ruth set her broom down and stood at Cade's shoulder. Jeb leaned a shovel on a barrel like a plane. Opinion. Hale looked from faces to paper. We're civilized. Pike tapped the false seal. Here's truth. 10% of feed, 5 of water, 2 of every sack the mill lifts. Pay me, and I keep your roads smooth. Refuse, and the roads get teeth. Jeb snorted. Teeth break on rocks. This keeps you from accident, Pike said. Mara set the paper down. That judge retired last spring. The stamp's wrong. Hale's jaw worked. There is no judge who hates cousins. There is a clerk who loves his job, Mara said. File it and you burn your hand. Cade didn't blink. You want a tithe? Come earn it in the rows. Pike laughed without warmth. I don't pay with hands. Then you don't get paid, Cade said. The sidewalk gathered weight. Children by the pump, old men in chairs. Ruth's aunt with her coin bag like a verdict. Last chance, Pike said. Pay to be left alone. Cade thought of the ring in his pocket, the whisper that told him to keep, the water that had answered when nothing else did. No. Pike folded the forgery and slid it away like a blade he'd show later. Storms come. We already learned to stand, Jeb said. We already learned to read, Mara said. Hale touched his badge as if checking if it still mattered. Cade stepped forward. The street leaned with him. This store opens for hunger and closes for fear, he said. You don't set the price of either. Pike swung up smooth. You'll pay me. You'll learn. I don't bow, Cade said. I don't ask for bows. I collect, Pike answered, and rode off with dust acting like praise he hadn't earned. People started breathing again. Ruth let out air she'd held since he walked in. Hale stayed. You make my days long, he said. You make them honest, Cade answered. Hale studied Mara, Jeb, Ruth, the jars, the keys, the deed. Honest gets men hurt. Dishonest gets them owned, Mara said. Hale looked at the road where Pike had gone. Power changes men, he said. It reveals them, Cade said. Night took the heat out of town. Cade locked the door, handed the key to Mara, then to Jeb, then took it back. 3 hands, he said. No single pocket. Ruth slid her fingers into his 4-1 breath. You moved fences, she said. We will again, he said. He set the ledger on the counter, the keys beside it, and the deed on top. Outside, the street listened, waiting. Breath held, the street gathered. Cade stood at the feed store door with Jeb. Ruth waited in the crowd. The well was calm underfoot. Sheriff Hale faced Pike in the open, badge bright, mouth flat. Mara came from the courthouse road with a folder tight against her ribs. She climbed the boardwalk and stopped at the desk, dragged outside for days like this. Real order, real judge, she said. Hale squinted. Girl, you playing clerk or savior? Reader, Mara said. Pike smiled. Reader of what I wrote. Hale rolled 2 fingers. Bring it here. She slapped the order down. Motion to enjoin extortion by kin, she said. Signed and sealed. File number here. New stamp. Clean ink. Hale rubbed the seal and held it to light. Pike's blood outranks ink. Not today, Jeb said. Pike looked past the paper. 2 people. Think carefully. I can raise roads. I can close gates. Tired women lifted their chins. Quiet men stepped forward. Ruth's voice carried. Sheriff, you serve us, not him. The crowd's breath slid out and back in. Cade felt his heartbeat slow. He looked at Hale. Ready. Hale felt the eyes. The badge grew heavy. He looked at the order again, and at Mara's face. Pike, hand me your gun. Pike laughed. We're kin. We're watched, Hale said. He reached and took the pistol. Metal left leather, and the street exhaled. Ruth's aunt nodded. Cade moved to Ruth. You came. I never left, she said. Mara kept a hand on the order. 2nd page. Sheriff. It names you necessary witness. Necessary, not willing, he muttered. Necessary is enough, she said. Pike drew taller. You think a cell holds a cousin long. It will hold you long enough for the judge to see your face without a seal over it, Mara said. Jeb lifted one end of the desk and set it down. Sheriff door. Hale nodded to his deputy. The deputy swallowed and stepped up. Pike. Hands. Pike's fingers hovered, then settled. This is performance, he said. This is town, Hale answered. Cade felt the well's word under the dust. Keep. Stand. He breathed. He thought of the burned deed, the storm, the first sale, the key, the forgery, the order now taking light. Ruth touched his sleeve. Don't gloat. I won't, he said. Work after, she said. We will, he said. Holly took Pike by the arm. "You'll walk." "I'll ride," Pike said. "You'll walk," Hale repeated, and the deputy took the other side. They moved as one slow piece through the crowd. People made a path. Jeb walked a step behind. Mara kept near Hale's shoulder. Cade and Ruth followed until the jail swallowed light. Inside, the room smelled of iron and soap. Hale opened the cell with a key he wore too often for show. "Inside," he said. Pike turned to catch the eyes he still thought he owned. "This will cost you," he told the town. "Cost is how we tell truth from brag," Ruth's aunt said. Mara spoke low. "The order holds. The judge expects you at dusk." "I'll be there," Hale said. Cade watched Pike step past the bars and turn smaller. He chose one line that belonged to work. "You pay what you owe." Pike smiled without teeth. "I always collect." "Not today," Jeb said, and shut the door. The cell door clanked. The echo ran to the street. Outside, people began to talk again. Ruth squeezed Cade's hand and then let go. "You came," he said again. "I never left," she said again. Mara handed Hale a copy. "Hold this," she said. He slid it into pocket. "Reader," he said. "Savior is the town," she said. Cade stepped into light that felt earned. The street leaned with him, then leveled. He lifted his chin to the well's hush and the hum of work finding its gear. "Fence, then water," he told Jeb. "Fence, then water," Jeb said. Hale stood in the doorway with the key in his hand, listening to the cell's small weather. He looked at the people who had given him his job back by watching. "You'll testify," he told Mara. "I'll read," she said. He faced Cade. "You'll show your books." "I'll show my rose." He looked at Ruth. "You'll keep peace." "I'll keep truth," she said. He nodded like the badge had a new weight he could carry. "Then we begin." Cade felt the ground answer with its old word, steady under boards and dust. "Keep." He leaned Ruth's broom against the door. He looked at the window, where Pike's face had pressed and vanished. The street let its breath go. It filled with the clatter of buckets and the low talk of people counting what was now theirs to defend. Cade touched the scar on his forearm and set himself for what came next. Work waited. The day would hold. Dusk pressed against Cade's gate. The posts threw long shadows earned by blisters. The cistern held a rim of light. The windmill clicked once, then settled. Jeb sat on the top rail with a shovel across his knees. Mara leaned on the ledger board, sleeves rolled, watching the road. Cade stood by the gate, key heavy in his pocket. Hoofbeats came careful. Ruth rode up slow, cloak pulled close. She dismounted and let the reins fall, so both hands were free. She looked at the gate first, not at him. Her breath shook, then steadied. "I was wrong," she said. Cade kept his voice low. "I was stubborn. Can I come home?" "This isn't a home," he said. "It's a chance. Then let me work it." The well's hum rose under their boots, old and final. Return what was taken. Cade felt it pass through his ribs. He turned to what could answer. Land alive. The waterline edging up, rose. Bowed and not broken. Faces at the fence. Jeb steady. Mara sharp. Ruth waiting with her hands open. He nodded once. "We return dignity." To everyone, Jeb's grin came crooked. "So what's the first job?" Cade let out the breath he'd held since the courthouse laugh. "Rename the mill." Mara stepped forward, ledger open. "To what?" "Common," Cade said. Ruth's tears ran plain. "Thank you." Cade set his palm to the latch. "We build it so no one begs to be loved, only to be useful." He lifted the bar. The gate swung in with a creak. Ruth walked through. Mara followed, pages pressed flat. Jeb dropped from the rail with the shovel like an oath. Cade closed the gate and heard the click as a kept thing, not a cage. They crossed the yard. The wind carried wet metal from the cistern and cut earth from the rows. Ruth brushed her fingers along a new post. "What happens tomorrow?" Work, Cade said. Fence. Jeb asked. Fence first, Cade said, and Jeb nodded. Mara wrote in quick strokes. Common mill, common feed, common pasture. She held the page up. Say it. Common, Cade said. Ruth breathed the word. Common. Neighbors drifted to the rails. They didn't crowd. They waited with hats in hands. Ruth's aunt stood with a basket of bread. She looked at Ruth, then at Cade. You two going to make this town honest? We're going to make it busy, Cade said. Busy is honest when stomachs stop arguing, Jeb added. Hale rode up without grin. He stopped at the fence with his hat in his hands. His badge looked like a thing set down and picked up again for the right reason. Evening, he said. Evening, Cade said. Hale's eyes went to Ruth. You choosing. I'm working, she said. He nodded, relieved. Jail's quiet. Pike can hear himself. He glanced at Mara. You keep reading. I keep reading, she said. Then I keep watching, he answered, and turned. Cade set his palm on the well stones. The whisper had spoken and gone. A debt paid. He said one word back, not out loud. Kept. Ruth stepped beside him. You burning any more paper? Only the old sign, he said. At sunrise, we should save a splinter, so the town remembers. What not to build, she said. Put it in the stove and tell that story when the cold argues, he said. She laughed, small and real. Deal? They set to evening work, because the light was not done. Jeb checked the line and tapped each post for hollow. Mara walked the fence with her ledger. Cade rolled a seed sack to the windbreak and showed Ruth how to press 2 knuckles deep, how to cover without packing the soil's breath shut. She matched his pace, crooked but exact. You were wrong, he said after a time. I was scared, she said. Scared of hunger, dressed as hope. I was stubborn, he said. Stubborn saves when it learns to listen. I'm here to learn, she said. Then listen to silence, he said. And they did, hearing the hiss of water settling stone. Jeb's shovel biting, a page turning, the windmill taking one slow step and stopping. Neighbors handed tools over the rail. A hammer, wire, a sack of nails whose paper split and had to be caught. Cade took what came and passed it down the line. Tomorrow we pull the old name, he said. We hang the new one. Whose name? A boy asked. No one's, Ruth, said everyone's. Common, Mara said. Ruth's aunt pushed the basket at Cade. He took a heel and passed it to Ruth first. She tore it and gave him half. Jeb ate with dirt on his hands because clean hands don't plant. Night settled with less edge. Torches along the road held steady flames. Cade left the gate open, not as surrender, but to show what welcome looked like. He looked at Ruth. Can you stay? I never left, she said. He wanted to tell her about the ring and the laugh and the heat on the courthouse steps. But that was a different story, and tonight belonged to work. He put the words away like a tool he would use when it mattered. Tell me where, she said. Here, he said, and they finished the row, then started another. Stars coming up in the water, and in the sky the same slow way. Near midnight, the neighbors drifted home with promises to return at dawn. Hale's horse track faded toward town. The jail lantern made a small square and then went still. Mara closed the ledger and pressed her palm on the cover. Common, she said. Jeb propped the shovel by the door. Sunrise. Sunrise, Cade echoed. He locked the gate with Ruth inside for the first time and did not feel mean. He felt like a man keeping a thing so he could share it tomorrow. When the light bled up, they walked to the mill, a small parade of boots and tools. The old signs sagged on rusted hooks. Letters once proud, now split. Cade looked at Mara. She nodded. He glanced at Hale, who had come to witness. Hale nodded back. Cade climbed the ladder. Ruth steadied it. Jeb handed up the pry bar. The first nail shrieked and let go. The crowd flinched, then set. The second nail fought. The board came free in a rush that burned his hands. He held the old name high so everyone could see it ugly. Then he lowered it. They carried it to the yard. He broke off a splinter and gave it to Ruth's aunt for the stove. For the story, she said. Mara unveiled the new sign with plain letters. Ruth traced the word once, then looked up. Ready? Ready, Kate said. They lifted together and set the board on clean hooks. It hung straight. The crowd didn't cheer. They breathed. Hands reached for tools, not throats. The sign came down at sunrise, and the last image was work beginning. Posts upright, rope coiled, hammers passing from palm to palm while the field waited, held, alive. The well hummed once, satisfied at last.